everybody, 3 o'clock on the East Coast, noon on the left coast, many other times depending on where you are. Welcome to TPH Live. We do this live every weekday from my living room, and every day we bring on a great meditation teacher, and we do 5 minutes of meditation. You can, even if this is the first time you've ever meditated, this is a totally should be a totally safe space for you. And if you're an expert meditator, same thing. The goal here is to give you a quick sanity break, 5 minutes, and then we'll take your questions and you can move on with your day. Another goal is to create a sense of community at a time when a lot of us are feeling cut off. Even if you're like me or surrounded by other people, you can still feel cut off from your colleagues, from normalcy. So this is a place, hopefully, that can be an antidote to some of that. Our teacher today is an obscure up-and-coming musician by the name of Moby. You may have heard of him. He's actually quite a big deal, and is somebody I've known for quite a while, and has once described to me as a bit of himself to me as a bit of a secret meditation devotee. So Moby, nice to see you. Thanks for doing this.
Nice to see you too. I can sort of see myself in the corner of the screen. Am I too dark?
I mean, are you asking literally too dark, or sort of is your personal style too dark?
The light coming in from the window, I know it's like, it looks to me like it has this sort of like 15th century Dutch quality to it, but someone watching might think that I just don't know how to set up a phone for Skype.
No, I think I agree with you. It does look like a Vermeer painting in all the best ways. And so, no, I think it looks good.
Okay,
don't worry
good.
about a thing.
Okay, great. I figured if I look terrible, well, terrible being a relative term. I mean, I'm 54 years old and I haven't shaved or bathed in a while. So like hygiene wise, by that criteria, I'm terrible. But like, I guess as long as people can see, then it's okay.
We're good. So can you give us a brief sense of how you got into meditation, how it's been useful for you?
Yeah. Okay. Very briefly, my mom was a sort of hippie, and I was born in 1965. So in the early 70s, my mom was into the I Ching and Krishnamurti, and she tried to teach me how to meditate when I was 8 or 9 years old. Clearly, it didn't stick. And then my first formal introduction to meditation was actually really funny. It was before I got sober. I got sober about 10 years ago. So 12 years ago, I went with David Lynch to Fairfield, Iowa, ostensibly to learn transcendental meditation. And I've since learned transcendental meditation is great. So is every type of meditation. Like I don't personally think there's a hierarchy of meditation styles, but so I went to Fairfield, Iowa to learn meditation, and I ended up like taking tons of drugs with the locals and clearly not learning how to meditate. Like unless smoking crystal meth at 5 a.m. is considered a form of meditation.
This is just to put myself in the timeline here. You said this was before you got clean.
Smoking crystal meth was definitely pre-sobriety.
Okay.
And then once I got sober, I started exploring different types of meditation and taking tons of different classes. And that's sort of how I landed on my weird approach to meditation, which is, if I had to sum it up, it's that the practice should serve the person, not the person serving the practice.
Yeah, I really agree with that. And before we dive in and do a little bit of meditation, just curious to hear from you. How are you doing in the midst of all this? And is meditation helping in any way?
Yeah, I mean, I feel almost guilty saying this, but compared to most people, I'm fine. Like, I live alone, I work at home, so like my daily life hasn't been that disrupted, which I'm almost hesitant to say because I know for most people that's not the case. And meditation has been profoundly helpful. Mainly the simple notion behind so many different practices that how I'm reacting, I don't necessarily have to attach to the reaction. So if I'm panicking, if I'm angry, rather than act out on the panic or the anger, it's more helpful for me personally to look at the origin of the anger, to look at the origin of the panic, and to just sort of try and observe it, to try and accept it. You know, you don't have to accept the circumstances, but you can accept your reaction and learn from it.
Yes, that's absolutely right. And you can notice the anger or the panic, and you don't have to take the bait and act on it. And that's a game-changing skill in my experience.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do it. Let's do a super simple 5-minute meditation, and then we'll take some questions from the team on the back end. Does that sound good to you?
Okay, and feel free to let me know when 5 minutes has passed.
You can see Jess, right? Jess is our producer. She can see you. You can see her. So she'll do some hand waving and or light her hair on fire or something like that.
Okay, there's one variable though is I was toying with the idea of closing my eyes.
Whoa. Huh. Jess, what do you think?
I would say that if you start to go much longer than 5 minutes, I can cut you off, but just feel for what feels good for you. And then if we seep into much longer, so for the audience, we might go longer for this one, but if we seep into towards the 10-minute range, then I'll cut you.
Okay, yeah, or just feel free to yell something like, you know, it's you don't need to be delicate. I'm not entering some sort of like transcendent state. I just find...
No, but all of our viewers can hear me, so I want to ease them out of it.
Okay. So, so I guess for starters, if you feel like it, just close your eyes. And as we were saying earlier, I think one of the most important parts of meditating is, especially now when people are dealing with so much stress and so much anxiety and so much fear, is recognizing that the practice should serve you. Like, we're not trying to conform to some 4,000 or 5,000 year old ideal of transcendent bliss and perfection. We're trying to find some space and calm and comfort right now. And there are so many types of really wonderful meditation. What I'm going to do today is a very simple, very grounding mindfulness exercise. And I know that mindfulness is one of those words that just gets overused, terribly. So to start, just simply notice to yourself where you are. In the most basic way, where are you sitting? Not looking for any great insight, just a description of where you're actually sitting, or lying down if you're lying down. For me, I'm in my living room. I'm in Los Angeles, and I'm just sitting here. And if your eyes are closed or if your eyes are open, just simply take a moment to notice what you see, which might seem paradoxical to say what you see even with your eyes closed. But just simply noticing the light as it hits your eyes, if your eyes are open or half shut or closed. Just simply noticing the light. Not looking for any great insight or revelation. Just simply putting your attention on the light coming through your eyelids or hitting your eyes. Noticing any color, shapes. Also recognizing that you're not instantly going to go to a place of deep calm. It's a slow process, so be patient with yourself. Now take a moment to notice anything you might be smelling or even tasting with your mouth closed. And if you're not smelling anything or tasting anything, that's fine. Just simply notice that there's no smell or no taste going on right now. Just simply noticing with some calm awareness. Now take a moment to notice your body, how you're sitting or how you're lying. Again, not looking for deep insight, just simply being aware of your body. How gravity is holding it and pulling it down. How the chair or stool or cushion or floor or bed feels against your back or your side. Just noticing. And take a moment to notice how the air feels on your skin. Trying not to judge, just simply noticing the air on your skin. And how your skin feels exposed to the air, and how your skin feels under clothing. Just simply being aware and simply noticing. And now take a moment to bring your attention to anything you might be hearing. The obvious sound of my voice, but any more subtle sounds as well. Trying not to judge them. Trying not to push them away or hold on to them, just noticing sound. The sound of your breathing. The sound of appliances in the background, sirens, dogs, cats, whatever you might be hearing, just simply being aware of it. Just taking a moment to listen and being aware of what you're hearing. Now bring your attention back to your body. Do a quick scan, noticing if you're holding on to any tension. Could be the muscles in your face, your neck, your jaw, your shoulders, your back, wherever you might hold on to tension. And as you exhale, just try to let it go a little bit. And lastly, bring your attention to however you're feeling right now. Whether it's calm, angry, happy, anxious, neutral, however you're feeling, just simply bringing that quality of attention to whatever it is you're feeling. Not trying to change it, trying not to judge it. Just simply being aware and noticing. And in a moment, in your own time, when you feel comfortable, please feel free to open your eyes and come back to the room and come back to the conversation.
just to say it is very cool that you're somebody who can both make massive hit records and guide a solid meditation. So respect.
Oh, well, thanks.
Some questions are already coming in, and we got a heavy one here from Beth. Beth says, Moby, how do you get sober, and especially in a time like this?
Honestly, I think it's different for each person. You know, every person's, I mean, on one hand, there are a lot of similarities regarding addiction, you know, whether it's addiction to spending, to eating, to alcohol, to drugs, to bad relationships. I mean, like, it's part of the human condition that we're all prone to that sort of compulsive behavior. And what I've found is every person just needs to, if you're addicted, you get to a point where you're done. You know, for me, it was like I tried getting sober so many times over, you know, decades. And then finally on October 18th, 2008, I was done. Like the evidence had finally caught up with me. Like I couldn't drink like a normal person. I was drinking 20 drinks a night. I was suicidal. I was depressed. I was sick. I was miserable. And I finally just accepted, like, okay, I'm an alcoholic, I'm an addict, and I'm done. But all I can say is, and I don't know if this is helpful or not, it probably isn't, but it's different for each person. I wish I had some like big blanket, like rah-rah statement, but every individual will get, if you're an addict, you'll get sober in your own way and your own time. You know, it's up to the individual.
I have a tiny bit of experience here and with that, and that feels right to me. And I would only just add for Beth that there are lots of people you can reach out to now, with a lot of resources.
Mm-hmm.
If you may have a mental health provider of your own, that's, I think, reaching out and asking for help is super important.
Yeah, you're absolutely sorry to interrupt the next question, but you're absolutely right. Is like talk to people who have gone through similar things. I mean, there's such a huge community of people in so many different types of recovery. It's like, avail yourself of that. Because really, I mean, addiction is a very isolating disease ultimately. And like reaching out and being comfortable, ultimately sharing the things that you're ashamed of, like is a huge part of recovery.
Well said. Blanca writes, she says, hello and thanks. A fan here. I was wondering, did meditation have any effect on your creativity or your music particularly?
Yes. I mean, meditation and spirituality in general is, and especially before I got sober, I was, without overgeneralizing, I was materialistic, you know, like, and I was very controlling. Like I wanted, if I made a record, I wanted it to be successful. I wanted it to get played on the radio. I wanted it to be loved by critics and fans. And I have to say, through like sobriety, meditation, spirituality, I've become a lot less interested in controlling the world, you know, because nothing will destroy you and make you more miserable than trying to control things that you can't control or that you shouldn't control. And I mean, that's the serenity prayer, whether you're sober or not, you know, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot control. That's everything outside of my own thought and cognition, you know, the courage to change the things I can, which is my thoughts, my reaction, and the wisdom to know the difference. You know, it makes sense for people whether they're in recovery or not. So that's being able to focus on creativity for the love of creativity and not necessarily trying to control how people respond to me or what I do has been a huge benefit of meditation, sobriety, and spirituality.
I mean, I'm not nearly an artist in the way you are, but I am engaged in some creative work, and I just really resonate with what you just said, that the least happy moments in my life are the ones when I'm worrying about what other people think about me, or trying to make sure that grasping to try to make sure that I can control the outcome. And to the extent that I have imperfectly been able to turn the volume down on that, it has dramatically improved the quality of my life, my relationships, and my work.
I mean, there's one practical way of going about it is don't read comments.
Yes. A lesson I have not learned. All right, 2 more questions for you, Moby. And I'm sensitive to your time. We're already running over, but I'm going to hold you because you're damn interesting. F. Dizzle asks, hey, Moby, how do you as a meditator and musician deal with being distracted by ideas that come while meditating? How do you resist stopping to write stuff down?
I mean, on one hand, I love meditation because it helps me get to a place of calm. But more than that, it's changing my relationship with my thoughts and with my reactions and with my feelings and just giving me, like, it makes me think of that Viktor Frankl quote. You know, Viktor Frankl in, I think it's in Man's Search for Meaning. He wrote, between stimulus and response is a space, and in that space lies all of our freedom. I'm paraphrasing, but it's when those thoughts arise, it's simply acknowledging them, looking at them, accepting them, and if they're a really good idea, jumping up and writing them down.
I have that push and pull as well. All right, here's the last question. Hello, Dan. Hi, Moby. I wanted to know how we can use music, listening or playing an instrument to help us get through this stressful time. Thanks, Marie Christine from Hudson, Canada.
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. You know, I have been on the board of this organization, the Institute for Music and Neurologic Function. It was started by Oliver Sacks, if you know Dr. Sacks. Yeah. And he and Connie Tomeno, who runs the organization, what they've really been focused on is looking at the benefits of music, listening, and creation in a very non-anecdotal way. Meaning, instead of saying, oh, music makes me feel good, they actually use PET scans and fMRIs and all these things, you know, like looking at blood work to show that music is a profound healing modality. And it really is. Like, the work they do is phenomenal, because we tend to be, at least I tend to be, dismissive of things that are easy and make me feel good. You know, like sitting outside looking at trees, listening to music, petting a cat. I see a cat walking behind you. Eating an organic orange, like these simple, ostensibly banal things. But what we find from music to cats to trees is that these are profound sources of like real comfort and real healing. So my suggestion is, when you listen to music, really let yourself enjoy it. You know, and if you're making music, just love the fact that you're able to express yourself, because, you know, looking at the decrease of stress hormones, you know, promoting neurogenesis in the hippocampus, like music is remarkable in achieving these things. So all these things, anything that might seem ostensibly banal, is actually a potential for great healing and comfort.
Dude, you aced this. I really appreciate you doing this. Thank you.
And good luck to you guys and to everybody. I mean, we went through, I was thinking about 9/11. And you remember being in like Lower Manhattan in New York, the weeks after 9/11, it felt like normal was never going to return. Like, we felt like the world had been broken irreparably. And guess what? Normal came back. And that's all I have to say to people is, like, it might not seem that way right now, but normal will return.
I totally agree. And again, I just big thank you from me and from the whole team for taking time to do this.
Oh, thank you for asking me. It was really fun.
And guys, if you want to hook us up, take the survey, which is right down here. Let us know what you like and what you don't. We really pay attention to that. Share this with everybody you know. We're trying to build our community. And we'll be back here tomorrow with the Reverend Angel Kyoto Williams. And thanks again for everybody for watching this. Thanks to Moby. Stay safe. Stay home. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Okay. Thanks.
Bye.